Logo for QIC-AG, the National Quality Improvement Center for Adoption and Guardianship Support and Preservation, followed by the logo for Spalding for Children. Various video clips of children and families interacting with each other and within training settings.
Children from hard places need parents who feel equipped to help them heal and grow no matter what. That takes preparation, education, support, and the services families need, when they need them. In partnership with 8 sites, the National Quality Improvement Center for Adoption and Guardianship Support and Preservation tested promising practices and evidence-based models of support and intervention along a continuum. 8 interventions in 5 intervals, each focusing on a different level of risk. Together, the intervals represent the needs a family may encounter along the lifelong journey of adoption or guardianship.
A flowchart representing the Permanency Continuum framework. The chart begins with pre-permanence divided into 3 intervals: stage setting, preparation, and focus services. Next is finalization. The chart continues with post-permanence divided into 5 intervals: universal, selective, indicated, intensive services, and maintenance. The 3 intervals of universal, selective, and indicated are further labeled as prevention.
New Jersey focused its intervention on selective prevention. Introducing TINT, tuning into teens. This is New Jersey, the Garden State, where adoptive and guardianship families are discovering new opportunities to flourish.
Tuning into Teens is a parenting workshop.
John Webb, Site Implementation Manager, QIC-AG, New Jersey.
That allows families to come in and develop communication and other skills that will help them relate on an emotional level to their youth. New Jersey falls on the selective interval in the continuum.
Selective prevention targets children who, at the time of adoption or guardianship, exhibited characteristics or behaviors that put them at increased risk for post-permanency discontinuity. Tuning into Teens was developed by Dr. Sophie Havinghurst, along with her colleagues Anne Harley and Christiane Kehoe at the University of Melbourne.
Sophie Havinghurst, PhD, co-developer, Tuning into Teens, Associate Professor, Department of Psychiatry, University of Melbourne.
We wanted to develop a parenting program where emotions were the central part, not changing kids' behaviour, but helping parents to connect with kids when they're emotional.
Tuning into Teens is a 7-week workshop. Each workshop is 2 hours in length, and each week new topics are discussed, building on the old ones, with the theme of emotion coaching and emotion identifying throughout.
A list of 4 topics. First, how to raise emotionally intelligent children. Second, connecting and emotional acceptance. Third, building intimacy and showing empathy. Fourth, emotion coaching.
When we're teaching emotion coaching for parents of teens, we're really encouraging them to just come towards a child at those emotional moments, to connect with them at those times, to help the child learn about and understand their emotions and develop that emotional competence.
Arlene Jacoby, TINT Project Coordinator and Facilitator.
The goal really, and the foundation of this program, is to raise an emotionally intelligent child.
We wanted it to be a program that would be accessible to all families, all parents, with the idea that these are a universal set of skills about connecting with our kids.
The New Jersey site team adapted Tuning into Teens for adoptive and guardianship families with children between 10 and 13 years old. 6 weekly sessions became 7 sessions with an adoption overlay.
Hazeline Pilgrim, Executive Director, Family Support Organization of Essex County.
The adaptations really had to do with the unique challenges that adoptive families face. There were several points along the way in which it was necessary to say, okay, how is that different for an adoptive or formed family?
Nancy Rolock, Co-Principal Investigator, QIC-AG.
Our primary research question in New Jersey is, will the target population who receive TINT have better outcomes compared to similar children who don't receive TINT?
Rebecca Galice, lead facilitator, Tuning into Teens.
It's tough stuff. They've gone through adverse experiences, abuse and neglect. They've been taken away from birth parents, maybe multiple caregivers, and they have been hurt.
We know that the pre-adolescent years and the adolescent years come with a lot of change.
An adolescent walks into his house and greets his mother.
Hey. What's going on?
It's important to support families because the child that you bring home and you adopt at age 3 is not the person that you're going to be living with at 14 or 15.
It's a lifelong commitment, and it's just like parenting is, and they need support throughout the life of that child.
In August of 2016, Sophie Havinghurst traveled from Australia to New Jersey to train selected facilitators from across the state. For 3 days, participants immersed themselves in TINT.
Our facilitators for the Tuning into Teens program are some of the best and most experienced adoption professionals in the state of New Jersey.
By the time we finished the training, people really understood the philosophy incredibly well. They'd all tried everything out themselves at a personal level, because the whole idea is if you get it personally, you'll be able to deliver it to families.
An adolescent walks a dog and then returns home.
So what did you guys do in school today?
When Sharon Johnston's grandsons were 6 and 15, she became their kinship legal guardian.
This is kindergarten. Do you remember that?
Now they are 14 and 23.
Sharon Johnston, kinship legal guardian.
Donovan is 14, and he is the most lovable, cutest kid you could imagine. He's got the biggest smile. Oh, it was basketball, you were undefeated.
Yeah, and then we lost in championship again.
You lost again in championship. He's the athlete in the family, but he's very intelligent.
Donovan teaches a friend to throw a football.
And just let it go.
He uses his charm to get away with stuff in school. He's my challenge.
After 32 years, Sharon's marriage ended. Around the same time, her daughter went to rehab for heroin addiction.
It was only a 3-month program, and I kept the boys. I imagined that my daughter was going to get better, and that it was temporary, and that she was going to get her life back in order, get off drugs, and take her family back. But she didn't act like a person who was interested in raising their kids, and that's when DYFS came and asked me to take custody back.
DYFS is now the Department of Child Protection and Permanency, acronym DCP&P.
After raising 3 birth children, Candy Bay and her husband became foster parents. Eventually, they adopted several of the children in their care, including Nassar and his sister, Princess.
Candy Bay, adoptive parent.
What brought me to wanting to adopt children was the way I was brought up. Because, see, nobody deserves to go through some of the things that I went through.
Candy leads relaxation exercises with her children.
Take deep breaths in, release, nice and slow. I just wanted to show as many kids as much love and stability as I possibly can. You relaxed? They could get frustrating at times, and I can, you want to throw your hands up and say, okay, maybe this was a mistake. But it wasn't a mistake. It wasn't a mistake. What did you do in school? I received a phone call. And the lady, she said, hi,
This is Arlene. I'm calling from the Adoption Operations Office. And we have a brand new program that we've just brought to New Jersey that we want to offer you.
So all of a sudden, I have somebody calling it, and they want to know if I want to take a course.
And it focuses on emotional coaching and communicating and connecting with your preteens. Really, it's preventative.
I said, well, let me just say this to you. I have 3 adult children, so I pretty much think I got it covered on how to take care of a teenager, but I'm willing to learn more.
It's the first time anybody had ever reached out to me, and I was like, sure, I'll do it.
And we hope that the skills that you'll learn will really build the foundation for when you get into those older years where sometimes it can become very challenging.
I was like, yes, because I just hit that. He's 13, he was going on 14. So I was like, I need help. Yes, I'll do it.
So she said, okay, I'm going to send you some information in the mail. You fill out this information and you send it back to us. So that's what I did. So here I am.
A group of people, including Sharon and Candy, gathered around a conference table in a trading setting with Rebecca speaking.
Thank you, everyone, for coming back. Welcome back to Tuning Into Teens.
I went to the class and I loved Rebecca. It was like she's up there teaching and she's teaching my story.
Because a lot of times our kids are so overwhelmed with so many different emotions.
And I was like, that's me. Oh, that's me. Like, that's my story. I didn't feel alone anymore.
So does anybody want to start and let us know how your week went?
You're sitting there, you have your story, and then you're listening to the story of another woman, and you feel like, wow, there's somebody out here who's going through the same thing. It just kind of felt good.
So every now and then he, goes into a depressed state, worrying about his mom, who's in the street addicted to drugs. And at that age, at 14, how do you say to a kid, your mom is not good for you, without hurting his feelings? What do you do?
Candy, would you like to fishbowl it for us? Would you like to come on up and do a fishbowl? So if you guys remember what we talked about last week, a big part of what we're going to be doing over our next few weeks together is role-playing and fishbowling, right? So fishbowl is when we have a parent come up and be their kid. So not explain the situation to us, but really play how your kid would be. It allows the person in the fishbowl to be able to hear those messages, right, to feel what it feels like, to feel the difference between dismissive and emotion coaching. So we're first going to be that dismissive parent.
Now, Sarah, why do you always act like that? I just said I don't feel like talking about it.
Don't roll your eyes at me.
We role played every class. The very first time I did it, I was so stunned. I was the teenager and I could feel the animosity building up in me, and I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't even me or my problem, but I felt it.
Okay, so let's stop right there. So what was that like for you? What feeling did you get? What message did you get from all of us?
I don't get her. It's not, I'm not important. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to do the emotion coaching.
And then when we did it the positive way, I felt good and I thought, oh my gosh, this is what he feels like. I didn't expect to experience that.
So some of the key concepts of emotion coaching, tuning in, noticing the emotion, connecting and teaching, accept and listen, reflecting the emotion, so we're actually labeling that emotion. And then we end with problem solving, only when appropriate.
All right, so same role play.
Nassar, I see that there's something bothering you.
I had to say to myself, okay, Candy, you may not do things this way, but that might be the better way to do it. I don't want you to think that I don't love you, but I really just love and miss my mom a whole lot.
It can be hard, huh?
Yes.
That's tough.
All right, so let's stop there. Mm-hmm. What did that feel like for you? What did this time around feel like for you?
I didn't know I was going to have feelings. I thought I was just up here acting, but I did. I felt the difference, and I wanted Don to feel the good difference.
And so you can see how the first time we didn't even get to anything about him missing birth mom, right? We didn't even get to any of that. But this time we were able.
I didn't even realize I was coming out in a negative fashion to create him to come back at me, So then when he came back at me, I said, "You're back talking," and it just became a vicious circle.
And I'm learning at this table that there's some things I didn't know. So you just have to really pay attention.
You know what's remarkable about tuning into teens is after the first week, we hear a lot of people coming back to week 2 and talking about using the skills they've learned.
I couldn't wait to get home and try it out.
All right, so we want to talk a little bit about your home activities for the week. Again, I know...
Donovan.
Sharon sits at a kitchen table and calls for Donovan.
Can you come help me with my homework?
You homework?
I do have homework. You say it in the classroom, but then you come home and then I got Donovan. He's not my classroom partner. He's Donovan.
She would ask me like let's talk about our feelings.
Donovan Johnston.
And she asked out of nowhere, and I was like, oh, why? You've never done this before. And like, I could tell she was like trying, but it was just funny whenever she would do it. Like, it made me laugh.
Listen to your teen's music with them? No. Attend your teen's sporting events? Yes. Okay, is there anything else that you think of we could do together?
We could maybe like agree on like a TV show or a movie to watch at home.
Yeah, I like that one.
The whole idea around a prevention program is that you give people a set of skills that they go away and keep on using.
Also, not every parent needs to execute the program the way it's in the textbook. That they really should just adjust it to what works for their family.
Candy sits at a kitchen table, talking with and completing an activity with her children.
I'm thankful because not only do I teach you, but you guys teach me as well. You know, watching you grow up. The class was wonderful. The teachers were excellent. I learned so much from them. You know, I took in a lot of information from them. So how can we help Khalil to deal with that? Like, I was taught how to deal with different personalities and, you know, to be able to recognize when there's something going on with your kid.
Something I'm frustrated about is like...
Nassar Berrien.
The most important thing to me is family, because they always have my back and I don't have to like hold anything back from them, and I can express myself to them.
But sometimes you get a parent who comes along and by the end of a program, the thing that they say that they're doing the most is that they're actually just building in a pause before they react with huge anger.
You take a breath, you pause. That works. There's not me hollering and there's not him back talking. So then when we're able to come back together, it's more civil.
And that's changed a dynamic in that family, and that might be a very, very big step.
Sharon and Donovan sit on a couch eating popcorn.
So you know why I'm taking this class, right?
So that you can, so it mean you can communicate better.
One of the reasons tuning into teens has been so successful here in New Jersey is that we never lost focus on the families.
When I took you on to raise you, I didn't feel I did a good job with your mom. So I took the class so you and I can stay connected.
This idea of building the skills for our families to connect emotionally really hits home for the families that we're working with here in New Jersey.
I think it's a wonderful tool for self-reflection, and out of that, the potential for improving communication and relationship is really significant.
How do you feel about that?
Good.
Good?
Yeah.
Think we're doing okay?
Yeah.
I can't do it by myself because, one, I've never dealt with this situation before. And two, I'm willing to learn. I'm crisscross applesauce. These are my kids. Teach me.
A production of the National Quality Improvement Center for Adoption and Guardianship Support and Preservation at Spalding for Children. A service of the Children's Bureau, U.S. Administration for Children and Families. Funded through the Department of Health and Human Services, Administration for Children and Families, Children's Bureau, grant number 90, C as in Charlie, O as in Oscar, 1122. The contents of this document do not necessarily reflect the views or policies of the funders, nor does mention of trade names, commercial products, or organizations imply endorsement by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.